Hey everybody, Dr. Steven here. What a joy it has been to get to know you guys and read your initial intros and your discussion threads. And I feel like I'm making some new friends, and a handful of you I've had in other classes. Hey, I hope you enjoyed my silly little Sitzenleben video. I'm not wearing that hat, and well, actually, I have the hat here. Let me grab it real quick. So this hat, several of you asked me about it in private emails. This is a Bavarian hat. I got it actually in 1994. We spent a month in Europe with our kids, and as I told you in the, the Sitzenleben video, my wife is half German, and we have German relatives. We spent a bit of time over there, and they wear these things over there. So I bought the hat, and it had the little feather in it because some of the German guys will have the feathers, and they get them all fancy there. And then I noticed that a lot of them had hat pins from all over the place. So I started getting a hat pin from wherever I was at in Europe. And then other people started giving me hat pins. My niece, who travels quite a bit, she's got me 2 or 3 hat pins. A few of my students, when I was teaching face-to-face here in Colorado Springs with TKU, some of my students would be on mission trips and they would get me a hat pin. I think there's over 100 hat pins on here, and got to be honest with you, it is extremely heavy. Oh, it's not comfortable at all. I only wear it for Sitzenleben videos. So anyways, I just wanted you guys to enjoy that and that little story. So let's talk just for a moment about discussion threads. The discussion threads are probably, in my opinion, one of the most important parts of the online learning experience. To make an online class the same amount of credit hours as a face-to-face class, we approximate the back and forth of a classroom discussion with the discussion threads. I'm not all that worried about word count and grammar. In fact, I don't grade word count, I don't grade grammar. This is what I do. I simply look for a robust enthusiastic sort of post, and then for that same person to respond at least a couple of times to other posts that students put, and everybody gets full credit every week. So just jump in and enjoy the banter and the discussion back and forth, and we all get full credit for that. Beyond that, there is going to be 2 reflection papers. Now, one of them is on each of your 2 texts, Understanding Scripture by Wayne Grudem and Saving the Bibles from Ourselves by my dear friend Glenn Powell. And I know that you haven't read the books yet, and the reflection papers are due on week 3 and week 5. So I just want to help you a little bit with it. First of all, I know you haven't read the whole book. Don't worry about it at all. And you can pick either book for the first reflection paper due on week 3 and the other book on week 5. I don't care which one. This is simply what you do. It's 3 to 5 pages, double spaced. 3 pages is fine, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to take the first half of this paper, so 1.5 pages, which takes no time to write, double spaced. It'll be easy. You're going to just simply tell me the basic layout of the book, how the book is presented, and the purpose of the book. And then the second half, the second page and a half, 2 pages, I want you just to focus on 1 or 2 things in your readings thus far that have really resonated with you, and just kind of interact with that. You don't need any outside sources, so other sources. So first person is fine. You can say I rather than one in the third person, which you would do for a final paper. And so just enjoy it. Don't worry about it. It'll be easy, okay? And before you know it, the 3.5 pages will be done. So the first one will be due at the end of week 3. The second will be due at the end of week 5, because this is a 7-week kind of condensed class, okay? Beyond that, there's a really, really easy final exam. I'm almost embarrassed to say it's a final exam because it's so easy, so don't worry, you're all going to do great. And there's a final paper. And the final paper due the last day of class is 6 to 8 pages. 6 pages is fine. I want at least 3 references. You can use one of the 2 texts, and you can use another reference you can find online or elsewhere. And all you're going to do there is take either one of the topics that Glenn has suggested in Saving the Bible from Ourselves are one of the sections under the Understanding Scripture book, and just kind of expand on it, and we'll talk about them more in a few weeks. So this week, the videos. There's something else I just want to tell you real quick. My dear friend, Glenn Powell, who wrote Saving the Bible from Ourselves, dear friend, Glenn was so kind. 2.5 years ago, he came for a full day to my house here in my basement where I am, and we recorded 4 separate little interviews, and they're wonderful. To hear from the author himself is just such a blessing, okay? And the quality is so-so because that was before I started really getting better video equipment, but the content, I think, is just tremendous. So this week we have the first interview with the author Glenn Powell of Saving the Bible from Ourselves. And I really have to apologize because the other video is me here in my study, which you'll recognize from the other video. And I really should have put Glenn's interview last week, but I didn't, and I'm sorry for that. So you have 2 videos this week that I'm asking you to watch. And the second video of me, I had to divide it right in half because it was just a little bit too long for my YouTube channel to upload it. So there's genre part 1 and genre part 2. It's the same one. You'll see I'm wearing the same clothes and all of that. I really should redo this whole video for a couple of reasons. The first reason is because since I did that, I've lost 20 pounds, and it'd be better for you to see me 20 pounds lighter than in that video. But vanity aside, there's a second reason, and that is I did this, I think it was about 3 years ago, and that was when that solar eclipse of the sun came across part of the United States. And in the part 2 video, I'm talking about eschatology as I talk about different genres of literature in the Bible. I'm talking about end times and prophecy and that sort of thing. And I make a little reference to all the craziness that we were hearing on social media and what have you about the solar eclipse, as if that was some kind of sign of the Lord's imminent return. So when you see that, know that it's several years old, and that's the point I was making. So we got a lot of video stuff. We got the first interview with Glenn Powell, and then my 2-part video on genre. I want you to watch all of those, all 3 of those, really. And then that's going to inform the 2 discussion questions. You don't have any writing assignments due this week. At the end of next week will be the first reflection paper. You guys are going to do great. I'm going to help you. If you need extra time, I'm a grace guy. So let's start well so that we can end well. God bless you guys. I'll see you in the discussion threads.